Hello, exiles and power top dads. Welcome to the third episode of POE Dad. And before this episode starts, I have a very awkward confession to make, which is that this weekend, it turns out, is Labor Day. And what that basically means is I have obligations to attend to. And because of that, I will be unable to play for the next 3 days. I will not be offsetting my playtime by playing more today. I don't think it's particularly fair and true to the series, because the idea is that the people who are attempting to do this sort of style of gameplay would also have such commitments on a Labor Day weekend. But I will be back on Tuesday with another episode of POE Dad. And the goal, hopefully, is this episode to front load a little bit of our work so we can kind of streamline the process in the future. All right, let's get started really quickly. So first of all, addressing the elephant in the room, I have 14 divine orbs. This is because a bunch of stuff is sold, a bunch of stuff has been crafted, so I spent a bunch of money, and this recording is about 35% through our hour blasting session, so I want to say about like 20 minutes in. And the reason that's the case is because I forgot to hit record, and now I realize I probably should have done something at the very start or as early as possible, so I took kind of a bit of a pause. I wanted to record that. The other big thing that happened in between sessions is I anointed my amulet for a total of 1 chaos. Acrimony was 1 clear oil and 2 black oils. It was about 11% DPS increase. Turns out I was just running around with a completely unanointed amulet, so maybe in the future, if we plan to tackle more mapping content, it'll be really helpful. All right, so the other thing that might be controversial, but is definitely, I think, within the realm of reason, is I've given all of my expensive gear to somebody over the course of this weekend so they can sell it for me. And I think that goes along with the idea that they're going to be taking a small fee, because obviously you can't just hire a trader and expect them not to take much of it. But still, their fee is going to be very low because the items are worth a fair bit of money and they are very clear cut in terms of their value. And so that's kind of the second thing I wanted to make sure that was known.
Spring, summer, autumn, and winter.
春天的风是刚晾干的床单的浅蓝色，是张开双手去获得，而不只是眼看着。我想起小时候的一辆自行车，穿越马路逆着风跑，哼着的歌。当阳光洒满我裸露的手臂，再也不是那稚气未脱天真的口气。我的手被另一只手握紧，停在此刻，我才发现夏天的风是梦幻般的紫色。喂喂喂，
我想我应该抬起头走。不给委婉的事再找理由，
等风来根本不是我风格，迎风跑才发现有空回首。我看到了风的颜色，我听到了风的颜色，我碰到了风的颜色，我知道了风的颜色，我看到了风的颜色，我听到了风的颜色，我碰到了风的颜色，我知道了风的颜色。多想一辈子没有挂念，没有寄托，不想到最后除了眼泪就是悔过。我想放下一切，只活得光明磊落，不讲道理，不讲信用的人都给我走远点，走远点。秋天的风是什么颜色？你说是枫叶那种凄婉的橙红色，我假装听不太清楚，怀里有几种因素。你说算了，别闹了，之后我只能跟风倾吐，雪一片一片一片一片的飘落，白色的风拍着我的脸，它在笑我。从什么都没有再到什么都没有，曾经涂抹的那些彩色，最终也会变成白色。又说会错了意，不小心又说了放弃，每次平稳落了地，我总是急于站起。用再多形容词表达，真诚能有多狡黠？疼的重量能秒杀，制成快乐的三脚架。我看到风的颜色，却完全不够表达我走过的一点一刻。放下就放下吧，当下是框架吧。总有人想要跳进，有人拼命想要逃脱。我看到了风的颜色，我听到了风的颜色，我 色，我知道了风的颜色。
Alright, so originally I was going to cop out this entire section and not explain what the hell I was doing and just hope you guys got it from the montage, but I felt like that was going to be a little bit unfair. So let me just go through quickly the things I did. So the first thing I did was I made some boots. I made 3 boots. I was very unlucky and I got very, very jaded by not hitting anything super insane. So I just made 3 boots. These boots are worth 1 to 3 div in that range. Then I went to the quivers. So this was really, really cheap. There was one on market for 8 chaos, so I ended up sniping this base. But other than that, I bought 2 broadhead arrow bases for about 100 chaos each, and then I used essences of woe to craft it. And I was fishing for +1 arrow and crit, but dot multi totally good. This one hit +1 arrow, dot multi, and tier 1, so it was like super, super good. Obviously, this is very well worth the craft. The second thing I did is I did bone rings, and this actually took a really long time, partially because buying the rings was a huge hassle, and then I also messed up the item level on one of my rings, so I had to resell a couple of them. But the idea is you spam fossils until you hit some combination of minion damage and attack and cast speed. These are really, really strong mods for a lot of builds, and basically you hope to sell them for a couple div each. Obviously, I think this is probably not the greatest craft. The profit margins on this are anywhere between 200% to 300%, whereas the profit margins on some of the other things are way, way higher. But I think this was an experiment, mostly because the bone ring market isn't super well known, and I wanted to give it a real shot before anything else. And so that basically sums it up for the things I've been doing today. We ended the day at 6 divines because one of the quivers sold, and we will hopefully get some sort of positive news on the flip side. I'll catch you guys all next time. Well, that brings us right to the end of today's episode in its entirety. I apologize for the next coming few days. I do have some real life things to get to and I won't be able to upload anything, but I will continue to inflate my prices and net worth so that I feel a little bit better about myself. But even without inflation, I think it's pretty cool that we were sitting around 20 raw divines for about 4 hours of work, which is, I know, about 5 divines per hour, but we have a bunch of other stuff that was listed, and we went from basically nothing, ground up garbage can gear, to almost 50 divines net worth value and 20 divines raw, which I think is pretty impressive in and of itself. Anyways, I hope to have a bunch of stuff sell over the weekend, and I'll catch you on the flip side, guys.